What's going on, champs and champettes? It's FireMonkey here, and welcome to a double upload on the Commentary YouTube channel. And now, firstly, if you're a Nintendo employee watching this video, all I gotta say is, hey, on my secondary Switch here, I've got a little something for you to look at. Look at that. You see that right there? It's called tinfoil. Yeah, that's right. I have a hacked Nintendo Switch. Now, the reason I have this is just because, I like modding some stuff. I like using the official Switch hardware, maybe dump some games from it in order to data mine them, whatever it might be. I enjoy messing around, emulating Nintendo stuff and just having fun with how open their systems are when it comes to how people are finding exploits for their systems. However, more and more as time goes on, something I find super interesting is how Nintendo is just so they're so out of touch, it feels, with the entire internet. Because if you guys know, recently a YouTube channel named Gilvasana actually deleted their stuff. They got rid of everything, and they would make like remixes of songs, they would re-upload soundtracks, that type of stuff. So it was a very interesting situation. Now, the reason they got rid of their account was because Nintendo would send them like copyright strikes. They would take down videos time after time after time after time again, when all this person was trying to do originally was either make a remix or something, or actually just re-upload a soundtrack for anyone who wants to listen to it. However, that is not what we're going to be talking about in today's video. No, as you can already tell by the title and thumbnail of the video, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo 3DS and the Wii U. Now, firstly, I've never actually owned a Wii U. I have owned a 3DS, and I have actually owned a a normal Wii. And actually, if I look back here, I should have the the 3DS is right here. Look at this. Here is the Nintendo 3DS I have. Let's see what game is in it. What do we got in there? We got Super Mario 3D Land. So yeah, I have a 3DS. I play on it, and this is also hacked as well, just like this Switch is. I like hacking my Nintendo Switch, and I just like hacking Nintendo consoles, because, it's cool having that little hack system there. But something that's going down is recently Nintendo officially announced that in 2023, around March 2023, I do believe, they're going to be shutting down the eShop for the Nintendo 3DS and the Wii U. Meaning, let's say there was a downloadable only game that never had a physical copy for one of these systems. Well, now you'll never be able to obtain it unless someone out there has archived that device, archived that game, and has actually, made sure it was preserved for anyone to experience in the near future, whether they use an emulator, an official Switch, official 3DS or Wii U, whether it's hacked or not hacked. And it's just a whole entire situation that is just kind of dumb. And as you guys know, PlayStation, Sony, that whole entire group tried shutting down one of their older stores recently, and because of the fans' the community's outlash of not wanting this to happen, they continue to decide, or at least I do believe, maybe I'm making up a story in my head here, but they continue to, support that for other people because of this backlash. They continue to support it, and maybe eventually they'll even get cross-play working, or, just cross-downloading, allow you to play the older games on the newer hardware, just so people can continue to play and actually enjoy those older franchises. However, Nintendo is a company that is known for not going back on their decisions. In the past, the Wii Shop channel was shut down in 2019. Super Mario Maker on the Wii U got its support cut off back in 2021. So Nintendo eventually is like, hey, these things got old enough that we're just like, we don't care. We're slicing them off entirely. And even if there's a community behind it that are still using those services, Nintendo's like, nope, sorry, we just buy the new console. Go ahead, upgrade your stuff. We're not going to care about your outlash on social media. And if you're like me, then you remember the actual 3DS Nintendo Center, whatever, what was it called? Oh my god, it's gonna bug me, hold on. The Nintendo Miiverse. This was like a social media. It was like the Nintendo Twitter for the Nintendo 3DS and the Wii U that eventually got discontinued in 2017. I love that thing just because, I would scroll through it randomly, find a random community, click on that community, and just see, what people have drawn, see whatever's going on there, and you could always just find some weird stuff going down, whether it's people randomly role-playing in a Mario category, or it's people, in the Splatoon category making art or whatever it might be. There was just a lot of actual use for this Miiverse system, to the point where people have actually tried remaking it. And it makes me think, what if one day they're like, yeah, the Street Pass system, we're shutting that down too. If you had Street Pass on a previous console, it's no longer going to work anymore. You'll never be able to Street Pass anywhere. And actually that's kind of happening, since means the eShop's gonna get shut down and some of the Street Pass things you had to buy from the eShop. So I guess the end of the eShop and the 3DS is going to be the soft end of Street Pass as well. And in an official statement from Nintendo themselves, they said across our Nintendo Switch Online membership plans, over 130 classic games are currently available in growing libraries for various legacy systems. The games are often enhanced with new features such as online play. We think this is an effective way to make classic content easily available to a broad range of players, and within these libraries, new and longtime players can not only find games they remember or have heard about, but other fun games they may not have thought to take a look at without, having seen it in this library before. So we currently have no other plans to offer classic content in other ways. So what they're saying here is, hey, the 3DS, the Wii U, those stores are getting shut down, but if you want to experience those games, maybe in the future we'll add it as, its own emulator built into the Nintendo Switch or whatever console's out then, and we'll allow you to actually buy our monthly, Nintendo membership, our Nintendo Switch Online membership subscription, so that you can try playing these games out in a rent-based system instead of, having it on the original device that you still own. And now to kind of throw a little bit of a joke into the whole entire situation, because, it is kind of sucky. It sucks for those out there who don't have a hacked device or don't want to hack their device for risk of, doing something like bricking it, that don't want to lose access to the eShop. But one of the games that you're no longer going to be able to actually access on the eShop once all this happens to the Nintendo 3DS and the Wii U is going to be The Binding of Isaac Rebirth, which we've actually been doing a Let's Play of on this channel recently, if you've watched any of the YouTube videos here or you just seen it in your recommended. So it's going to be an interesting situation just to see how many games were like digital only that never really had physical copies that end up becoming like these rare mythical like games that no one will own, except for those who are willing to go out of their way to either try emulating those games or to try hacking the device themselves so that they still get the classic experience on the original device. But it's just the whole entire situation where Nintendo just keeps making these choices that the whole entire community disagrees with, and it's like, at one point, at one end, I understand the business aspect. If you're losing money on these services, then it makes sense to eventually shut down those services so you can continue to work on gaining more profit than it is, you're putting money into this thing that actually ends up shutting down in the future. But in my own opinion here, if I'm coming from the consumer standpoint, I feel that it's Nintendo. They're known for their crazy stuff. I mean, Flipnote Studio? Or was it just called Flipnote back then? I think they revamped it with like Flipnote Studio or either Flipnote Studio 3D or something like that. That has its whole entire history on YouTube. There's some like things from my childhood that when I search the main thing about it, even if I don't put Flipnote in there, it will recommend me the Flipnote version of it before it recommends me the original thing, because that's where it was popular. That's where everyone first saw it from, was the Flipnote Studio application on these older devices, which of course had its older servers eventually shut down. So personally, I feel that this stuff should be preserved. If people want to spend their money to get a 3DS game, then maybe just combine those servers with the same eShop servers you use to serve Nintendo Switch games so that people can still buy it. Like, I see there's better ways of actually going about doing this than there is ways of, just being like, hey, we're discontinuing it, screw all of you. But yeah, with that said, let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about this whole entire situation of Nintendo shutting down the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U eShops in March 2023? Personally, of course, as I've already stated, I would like to see them, try finding a way instead to actually combine these into the Switch eShop so that they don't have to shut down the older ones. But for one final gripe of this episode that I just want to throw in at the very end, it's the fact that there is a little bit of a discrepancy with the Nintendo 3DS XL, or I guess just, the Nintendo 3DS as a whole. With the Nintendo 3DS, you can view the Nintendo 3DS specific eShop, and there's some games on the eShop that can't even be played on these versions. The reason why is because if you want to play certain 3DS games such as The Binding of Isaac Rebirth, you would actually have to own the new Nintendo 3DS XL, or just the normal version of it, not the XL version, but you would have to buy the one labeled as new, which could cause a lot of controversy or confusion. Let's say it's around Christmas time, your kid or something wants an older system, they want a 3DS. Maybe they go to buy one and they realize, well, they don't even realize, but the kid realizes once they get it, that there's a lot of games they can't even play because their specific version of the 3DS, past, despite showing those games, does not actually support it. But that's just a little bit of a ramble I wanted to add at the end of the video. Tomorrow I'll be back once again playing more of the Binding of Isaac Repentance and doing another double upload talking about Nintendo once again and why I dislike them. So I'll see you champs and champettes then. Like, comment, subscribe, and I am out. Peace.